Hi, my name is John Platero, and I'm an educator for personal trainers. I've been in the fitness industry for about half a century. I rose from the dead. So, I was watching the Today Show not too long ago, and they reviewed 4 fitness products that you see on infomercials. And I felt the review was so inadequate, and that the fitness expert that they used was not an expert at all, that they gave you no insight or no other clarification whether these fitness products were good or bad. They just kind of demonstrated and showed you what they did. So I'm going to review them for you to show you really what these things do, in my opinion. The first one is called the Rock and Roll Stepper. Okay? Basically what this is, common sense. It's a seesaw. It's got a fulcrum in the middle, and it's got a pad here that goes like this, and there's a step, there's a fulcrum in the middle, and you're standing on these 2 pads like this. Okay? So basically, if you're standing up here and here's your body, and you got one leg down here and one leg down here, you're doing nothing, right? Because the weight of this side of your body counteracts the weight of the other side of your body. So the only way this can go down is if you lift your leg up or you lean to the side. So why would you buy this? It doesn't make any sense. You could go to Home Depot, get a piece of wood, put a 2x2 or a bigger piece of wood on the bottom. Now you have a seesaw. So basically what they're doing is they're rocking side to side. Now this is actually more stable than this. In fact, when Al Roker got on it, you could see how unstable it was to get on it and how precarious it would be for somebody who wasn't in shape. They'd fall right off this thing. And so really it's a waste of money, because all you're doing is taking the weight of your body and leaning over this side, taking the weight of your body and leaning over the other side. Now, the fitness expert at the Today Show, as she was reading the instructions, her comment about this was, well, if you bend your knees, you feel it more. Well, look, I don't even have to get on this to feel it more. I can get off of it and bend my knees and I feel it more. So all this does is, even if I control the motion, still it's the same amount of weight of my body on each leg. I can't make it any heavier because I only weigh so much. Unless someone comes over and hands me something where I weigh more, I can't progress. All I could do is go faster. But really, if I just balance like this and rock my weight, I'm really not doing hardly anything. It's kind of a waste of money. So if you just look common sense, this is a seesaw. That's all it is. It's a seesaw. An axis in the middle with a weight on one side, a weight on the other. We call that a class 1 lever. Don't waste your money on this. You don't need it. It's ridiculous. Just make one if you really wanted to rock back and forth. Okay? The second one they reviewed was called the Perfect Push-Up, which looks like this. Okay? All right, so first of all, I don't know what a perfect push-up is, right? The military has what they consider a perfect push-up, and we in the fitness industry kind of consider we have a perfect push-up, and it's having a person with their hands a little wider than shoulder width at about chest height, straight line from their heels to their head. That's a perfect push-up. Coming down to a right angle between your forearm and your bicep and then back up. We consider that a perfect push-up. However, if you're doing a push-up for your pectoralis major or your chest, that's why you're doing it, that wouldn't be a perfect push-up, because they've done EMG studies that shows that it's better to put your hands closer and you get more pectoralis major or more muscle firing when your arms are closer than if you put them wider. So depending on your goal would decide whether it's perfect or not. But let's just go with what they have here as a perfect push-up. Now, what their fitness expert of the Today Show said was it reduced force on your shoulder. Okay. Let me show you how that makes no sense whatsoever. Watch. If I have an arm, and it's like this is my arm, right? And I put a weight on top of this arm, right? The load or the force is going directly through my arm. Or let's say the weight was on this, going directly through my arm. If I spin this, does it change how much force is going through my shoulder? No. I can spin it all I want. If this is being pulled by gravity directly through, doesn't matter whether I spin it, it doesn't do anything to my shoulder, right? And as I rotate, in other words, if I bend my arm in a push-up like this, okay, force comes through my forearm, through my humerus, and pushes out through the front of my shoulder. I go lower, it's still the same thing. Force goes through my elbow, gets redirected through my humerus, out forward through my shoulder. Whether I spin it or not doesn't change. Look, my shoulder's not even changing. My shoulder's not even moving. Guess what's moving? Is you can do this right here on your elbow. Look at my shoulder. Look at my shoulder. See my shoulder moving at all? Nothing. I'm moving here in my radial ulnar joint. That's where I'm moving. Okay, what they didn't say, or the fitness expert didn't say, was that it takes stress off your wrist. That is what's the good point of this perfect push-up, is it takes stress off the wrist, not the shoulder. In a normal push-up on the ground, I would have to go into really extreme extension. People who type all day long, whatever, here's your carpal tunnel. This puts a lot of stress on your wrist. So the good point about this is that it takes the stress off your wrist, which you could do with a hexagon dumbbell. Look, there. It's the same thing. Or if I was on an edge of a bench, I could put my hands like this. So instead of my wrist being bent back way like that, I could do this. Get my wrists in more of neutral, and then do a push-up. Okay? So this does have some good points for the wrist, not the shoulder. So if you're sitting home watching TV and you have a shoulder problem and you think that this is going to be better for your shoulder and you bought it for that, it would be erroneous. But if you have problems with the wrist, this would be a good thing. Okay? So that was the second thing they reviewed and didn't mention. The third thing they reviewed was the iron gym. Okay? And the iron gym, they were saying that it gets you in shape. Well, you have to do chin-ups, right? So I'm pretty good shape. I'm fairly lean. Right? So let's see how long it takes me to do 10 chin-ups. About 30 seconds. All right, so let's say you could do 4 sets of that. Well, that's 2 minutes. So what are you going to do for the rest of your workout? You just worked out for 2 minutes. And if you could do 4 sets of chins, you're probably in pretty good shape already. So this doesn't really help get you in shape. You kind of have to be in shape. Because you weigh what you weigh. There's no way to progress. If you can't do 1 chin-up, how are you going to do 2? You're either going to have to start cutting stuff off, lose a bunch of weight, or someone's going to have to come pick you up so that you could do 1 or 2. And if it took me 30 seconds to do 10,